It is 6 o'clock. I'll call the February 24th, 2026 meeting of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors to order. I will note that we do have a quorum with all members present tonight. If you would stand, we have Pastor Tim Irvin with us to provide the invocation from the Wytheville Baptist Church, and remain standing for the pledge. Mr. Irvin.
Let us pray. Almighty and gracious Lord, we come before you tonight asking for you to send down your wisdom to give guidance and insight for decisions that are made tonight. And we pray, Lord, that those decisions that are made would be made for the benefit of this county and for the people living here. We thank you that you're a God who listens to us and answers our prayers. And we pray these prayers in your precious Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on the agenda is citizens' time. I will remind you have 3 minutes in citizens' time. As I call your name up, please present your name and your address. Ms. Crockett will be keeping the time. First person we have for citizens' time is Mr. Andy Cagley.
Good evening. Andy Kegley, Rose Hill Road, Wytheville, Virginia. I now fully realize that I'm the fool in this whole NDA escapade. It would have been so simple to tell us more than you have, now that I realize there was only one NDA for Project Gradient. Saying that out loud would have been a big step towards restoring trust. But you see, the fear of the NDA is accomplishing more than keeping any secret in one deal. The NDA is neutering your ability to be transparent about any aspect of this project. And it's a steady drip, drip, drip undermining of democracy, which might be one reason why the room is full again tonight. I admit I've been on an obsessive quest of late, tilting at rainbows on my steady mule, trying to figure out how our democracy norms were so dismantled, talking to many attorneys and consultants to learn more about NDAs and how they do, or rather don't, comport to FOIA. I woke this morning after talking last evening to some journalists working on this story, God bless them, to the very sudden realization that there really is only one NDA, to the best of my knowledge. I learned that they have the NDA signed last February. I went back to the minutes, and on February 25th, a year ago, there was a first reference to an executive session about Project Gradient. It all makes sense now. My frustration about the practicalities and logistics of how each of you are covered by individual or blanket NDAs has been for naught. Of course, you didn't each sign one. Only the one person doing the negotiating with the company signed the NDA, and he only passes along the need to know generalities about the project to you. And all you had to do was clarify that you did not sign the NDA. That doesn't mean the practice of the NDA is not being abused. An NDA should expire with a vote to convey public assets, in this case, the gift sale of the land, or even better, the NDA should expire before that with the disclosure to the public of why you think such a project is a good fit for the county. You have public hearings on creating transportation districts to pave a private driveway to get input of their neighbors. A public hearing on something like $1 billion investment with extreme electric consumption, questionable water usage for a dubious economic model ought to rise to that same level of public knowledge and participation. Like The Who sung in 1971 in their classic, off their prophetically named album, Who's Next, we won't get fooled again, with Roger Daltrey's scream at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cagley. Next person we have is Ms. Sarah Bates.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bates, and I wrote myself a cheat sheet. It's in my pocket. I have a deep concern about the NDA as well. But added to that, I'm really disturbed that you're using code names, and it feels like a second layer of smokescreen. as someone who lives here, I'm transplant. I love the community I'm at. I'm a climate refugee from Paradise, California. Our town burned up partly as a result, again, of the people we trusted to see to our well-being allowed the utility company to ignore 100 years of maintenance, causing that fire. I live here now. I love it. I don't want to live in a community where I don't feel like I can trust the people that are elected to represent me and everyone else. So I'm objecting also to the code names. I think it's time for you to be directly transparent with us. Tell us what these projects are and give the community an opportunity to share their perspective. Do they think it's wise or not? I don't think I've ever elected a single person in my life that I expected to hide behind things like NDAs and code names. The last thing I'd like to mention is, as I started to look into this, I realized that there's never been a historical importance inventory of locations in the county done by anybody I can find. Short lists that might tell me the names of 3 towns like Fort Chiswell. Oh, this is historically important, but it doesn't tell you why. Then I was approached by someone when I started speaking up about that, saying, where's the environmentally sensitive map for the county? What shows us what areas might have endangered species on them? And should both things, in my mind, should be under your consideration as you move forward with the land ordinance. So those are the points I wanted to address. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bates. Next person we have on the list is Andrew Russell.
How y'all doing?
Perfect time.
Yeah,
Right.
my wife signed me up. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming. I did want to make a couple comments. I've spoken before, and I just want to share some personal context. I'm from Northern Virginia. I was listening to some information about data centers today. I think the new count puts the number of data centers in Northern Virginia somewhere between like 300 and 400. This is kind of a colossal amount when you think about how much room we have up there. It's pretty wild, but kind of the big thing I want to make a point about is that in spite of 300 data centers being in Northern Virginia, the streets are not paved with gold. It looks just like it always did when I was up there. So the real crux of the issue around data centers is managing the windfall that comes from them being available. I'm not necessarily speaking about the one single data center that would be at Progress Park. I'm speaking more about I have a feeling that we're chumming the waters for and inspiring other outfits to come and see what we have available. And I know that there's been discussion about a land use ordinance being available to help oppose them. I think something like that would make a lot of sense. I think we're going to want to be able to identify as many tools as possible. We have something really nice in Wythe County. Actually, we have something amazing and irreplaceable in Wythe County. And we need to make sure that we protect it with every resource that we can find. I understand that there are budgeting constraints that require creative thinking and that this was a solution that was come up with. I understand that that's the input to the thought everyone's having, but also understand that the deepest resource we have is the one that put us here and has kept us here. And data centers have only existed for, 15 years maybe? But, the farming and the other elements of our community that we have come to love and respect and require and lean on, that's what's got us here and kept us here. So I think it's important that we give deference to our highest priority and what put us here in the first place. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Next person is Miss Stacy Beamer.
I'm Stacy Beamer, 1390 West Ridge Road, Wytheville, Virginia. I noticed on your agenda that during closed session tonight, you will be discussing Project Titan and Project Transmission. My fear, and I think a lot of people's fear, is another surprise outcome of a company or factory that our citizens know nothing about and do not want in our county. Maybe we can take a step back and recruit environmental friendly or green companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Next person on the list is Mr. Jacob Davis.
Hello, my name is Jacob Davis. I'm from Rural Retreat. I'm just going to be very quick with it. Just remember the people that elected you when you're serving. We are already having to pay enough. And I think that just this data center and adding everything else, straining our electric grid and straining our water, is just going to hurt us so much worse. And it's time to be transparent with us about everything that's going on in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Samantha Dale.
Samantha Dale, 5054 Stony Fork Road, Wytheville, Virginia. Good evening. I like to go by Sammy. I've been a resident of Wythe County for 32 years, and I'm speaking tonight about the Progress Park Data Center project and what it means for our community. This community feels blindsided. Many residents only learned the true scale of this project after approvals were already in motion. Others have been raising concerns for months and feel their questions have been deflected, delayed, or only partially answered. And that's not how public trust is built. This is not a small project. The performance agreement ties roughly 90-plus acres in Progress Park to a development requiring at least $500 million in capital investment. That scale affects infrastructure demand, stormwater management, environmental stewardship, and the long-term character of this community. Residents are not reacting to rumors. They're reacting to the realization that something this large moved forward before most people understood what was happening. Transparency is more than clarifying what has already been approved. This project relies on shared infrastructure and shared natural resources. That makes its impacts a public concern. Legal compliance is the minimum standard. Transparency is the standard that builds trust. Residents deserve clear, ongoing communication about peak water demand and drought contingency planning, generator capacity and air permitting requirements, stormwater management for a site of this size, electrical infrastructure needs, and whether transmission expansion will occur, environmental permit timelines, and opportunities for public comment. Transparency is not a one-time information release. It's an ongoing commitment. I want to acknowledge the community members who have spent months researching, asking questions, and advocating for clarity. I'm here because, like many others, only now understanding the project of this scale of this project, We're not opposed to progress. We're opposed to being left in the dark. Wythe County is not an empty place waiting to be used. It's our home. Public trust is not automatic. It's earned through transparency and accountability. Today is an opportunity to begin rebuilding that trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dale. Ms. Donna Nitcher, I think is that correct?
Yep, Victor.
And I apologize if I butcher anybody's name, so.
Donna Nichter, 252 Whispering Pines Road, in Max Meadows. I'd like to just say ditto to what she said, but I'll read my brief thing that I wrote down. As you know, there's a number of us that are not happy with the way things unfolded with the data center Solus Arcs. In particular, the lack of transparency with the NDAs and the code names. It's come to our attention there's several more code names currently in process that are unknown projects to the public. While I understand the need for these to a certain extent, I'd like to see more participation and input from the citizens of Wythe County. I also have serious concerns about potential environmental impacts, and AI is a whole other story. I think we need to slow down this quote progress and consider the future impacts. I don't agree with putting profit over people, and I'm not exactly sure who the company is behind Solus Arcs that will profit. I appreciate the recent acknowledgement of the community concerns as included in the board packet memorandum from Matt Hankins on February 20th, with plans for a series of informal community meetings regarding the land use classification ordinance. I request that the meetings be scheduled at locations, times, and days, including a Saturday, in which everyone concerned will be able to avail themselves to information and input. Perhaps even a citizen advisory committee comprised of interested and diverse county residents, including Farm Bureau members and landowners, could be called together to assist with revisions and reviewing public comments from meetings. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mayor. And this next name, I apologize ahead of time, so Matt Feebig,
Yes, sir.
is that correct?
About 1 out of 50 people.
I need to go buy a lottery ticket then,
They
right?
say 5 big or Phoebe.
How you guys doing today? I'm at Phoebe. My address is already on the record. In 2026, you use AI when you use the search feature on Facebook. When you do a Google search, AI is the default for those searches too. I love technology and I want to see it advance quickly. I've been working in the tech field for over 20 years. I was the CEO of an international technology company and the co-founder of another one. I just want to force these data center companies to use clean energy, non-contaminants, and a truly closed-loop system for cooling. Some of what they claim is closed-loop is not. Just as the first computers were room-sized and now we can carry far more processing power in our pockets, data centers will get smaller and more efficient too. But in the meantime, they need to stop their predatory expansion into rural areas until they can clean up their processes. I, and others here, have been engaged in deep research and intra-community communication for the last couple of months. We were suddenly forced to when we were told about the data center at the same time that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors informed us that it was too late. But we are not satisfied with too late. We have learned the predatory and secretive methods of the current data center industry through the experiences of other communities who were preyed on by the same industry and their high-paid front men, con men. I don't want AI technology to stop. Hell, I want it to go faster. But I don't want to hear until they are forced to build their own green energy plant and use a truly closed-loop water-cooled system. We will continue to communicate with other communities and warn them about the practices that are going on here. I'd like to say in my final remark that I don't think any of you are bad people. I don't think that there's anything secretive going on. I don't think you have any bad intentions. You were approached by some of the best con men in the nation that are paid in probably near $1 million to come in and convince you that things like, well, it only uses 2,000 gallons a day, the same as the average restaurant. Obviously, that's not true. I don't think any of us in this room really believe that. I think you guys have learned from the community and from your own research since then that this was probably a mistake. But now we're in it, so we're going to find loopholes, and we're going to turn every rock over like a river otter until we find a hole to bust through this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person on the list, Mr. Tony Floyd.
Evening.
Good evening.
Tony Floyd, 4900 East Lee Highway. Just take a few minutes here. I wanted to begin by expressing my support for the approach outlined in the memo by Mr. Hankins regarding the public forum's proposal for proposed land use classification ordinance. I appreciate the emphasis on the informal community meetings, transparency, and creating space for meaningful public input before decisions are made. That kind of engagement is essential to what we were talking about when we're talking about something that will shape the future of our county. Land use ordinance is not just about telling people what they can or cannot do with their own property. It's about planning responsibly, protecting what makes Wythe County special, and providing clarity and fairness in our community as our community grows and changes. Done correctly, it can help balance private property rights along with long-term interest in our citizens, our infrastructure, and rural character. I want to, also want the board to know that I am not alone in believing that this conversation is important. Several others and I have begun collecting signatures to support the future adoption of a land use ordinance. To date, we have gathered approximately 250 signatures, of which has been accumulated in the last 4 or 5 days, from signatures of residents in the county, they're all in the county, who believe that this issue deserves serious consideration and a thoughtful discussion. At the same time, I believe that we can and we should do more to encourage broader participation. I would like to see even greater involvement and input from citizens across all parts of Wythe County. One important way to accomplish this would be to schedule at least one of these public meetings on a weekend to accommodate residents who work during the week and are otherwise unavailable to attend during weekday and evening meetings. Making participation accessible will only strengthen the process. In addition, a citizen advisory committee could be another effective way to ensure diverse perspectives are heard, bringing together farmers, landowners, business owners, and other residents to help inform the board as this ordinance is considered. If a citizen advisory committee is considered, I would like to be a part of that committee. The forms proposed in Mr. Hankins' memo are a strong first step, and I encourage the board to move forward with them, including consideration of a weekend meeting, public meeting for input. This is an opportunity to listen, educate, and build trust as we consider whether and how our land use ordinance could benefit the county. Thank you for your time. That's all I've got.
Thanks, sir. Next person on the list, Ms. Dee Ennis.
Well, I'm going to change the subject. Before I give my book report, I'd like to clarify something. You know, you hear the expression, trust then verify. Well, I would beg to differ. We all verify first who we trust, and then we trust them. So, and the other thing I'd like to clarify is that we have, our country, our Commonwealth, and this county is part of a constitutional republic. The only democratic procedure is to vote within certain elections, be it a general election, a primary, or committee elections. And the second point I'd like to make about that is a constitutional republic is ruled by law, not by only the majority. And we went into that earlier. But anyways, the book report is about this book called Economics in One Lesson. And this was written by Henry Hazlitt, and it was initially published in 1962, then in 1979, it was initially published in 1946. So this is one of these old classic books. And I like to think of myself as a perpetual student. But I enjoy reading and I enjoy learning. And I'm going to share with you one quote from this book. And I would highly recommend everyone to get a copy of this because it really is in one lesson. He goes through several chapters of different incidents like the broken window, the blessings of destruction, public works means taxes, taxes discourage production, etc., etc. But this is the quote I'm going to read. How much? I got 1 minute, okay. The art of economics consists in looking not merely at the immediate, but at the longer effects of any act or policy. It consists in tracing the consequences of that policy, not merely for one group, but for all groups. And if you think about that definition, that takes a lot of effort to look at the whole picture of many things. So I would highly recommend y'all read this. Economics in One Lesson by Harry Hazlitt. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to know some of the background regarding this topic of the data center, there's a podcast on Spotify called Grace, Grit, and Gumption. And there's an episode there where the previous Board of Supervisor chairman explained the timeline of the data center. Thank you.
Last person we have is Joe Upcavage.
Joe Upcavage, you know me, 811 Cinnamon Run, and I have the honors to bring the conversation back to all the other crap before. NDAs, I seen something, I believe it was Ohio, and I believe it's the Republicans who are pushing for no NDAs, and I think there's another state, Republicans as well, but you know who's on board with it? Republicans, Democrats, and everybody in between, because seems like NDAs are garbage when it comes to local government and the community. Then the land use ordinance thing, I don't like the idea of zoning, and I know a lot of you don't. I don't like, in general, the idea of government. I like to have my chickens in my coops, and I like to grow my exotic plants without the government telling me what I can and can't do. But if we can do a land use ordinance, I heard of another county, I believe it Virginia, they made the entire county agricultural. If we could do something like that, some kind of thing, I don't know. We don't have to have a land use ordinance or zoning like Fairfax or Philadelphia, because that doesn't fit with county. But I don't want anyone to build a data center next to my house. Not that they're going to, but in the same vein, I don't want government telling me what the hell I can and can't do. You know, if they want to come and, I want all of our stuff to be grandfathered in. There's no reason that we should have to pay the price when we can come up with something that works for Wythe County. I don't think it could be that hard. It's 2026. Got like technology, we got brains and stuff. I think we can all figure something out. That's it. Thank you.
That's all we have signed up to speak for citizens' time. I'll close citizens' time. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. All board members received the packet. Is there any invoices that you have questions on or that you'd like to have removed? Hear none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the payment of invoices as presented. Was it you, Jason? I got a motion by Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Terry. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 Aye. So approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from a previous meeting. Every member has received a copy of the minutes. Is there any changes or additions that we need to add to the minutes? Hear none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Morgan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cook. Any questions or concerns? Hear none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Moving on to old business appointments. I think we only have one, right, Mr. Byrne?
Mr. Hankins would like to add one also, so I don't know if you've got any
Mr. Hankins.
for that yet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would ask, even though my appointment to the Regional Improvement Commission doesn't expire until April, I would ask if you would consider to go ahead and make my reappointment to that commission. As I've been elected as chair for the next year, I'd like to go ahead and provide some certainty to the other members that I'll be able to serve that term.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Mr.
So moved.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin.
If I can clarify, Mr. Chairman, that is for a 2-year term.
Okay, and does that change y'all's motions and
No,
seconds?
sir.
All right, any questions from any other board member? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 Congratulations, Mr. Hankins.
Thank you.
The other appointment, I know that a couple of us is working on a possible person for that. So next item on the agenda is a topic that we've heard quite a bit about this afternoon. So draft zoning ordinance, public input meeting. Is that you, Mr. Hankins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As most members of the board know, this is a project that I've been working on for close to 3 years now, at your request, to have a land use classification ordinance, one that is respectful of our position as a property rights county, one that strongly believes in property rights. There's been a lot of misinformation passed around about the land use classification ordinance, about grandfathering, about shooting ranges, and some other things that it's apparent that folks haven't actually read the draft ordinances online. So I would encourage folks to read the draft ordinance. It is a very light touch when it comes to land use classification systems. It allows most people to do what they're doing now without any issues. Everything that is in place now is grandfathered, and that's not something that we just want to do. It is something that is mandated by state law. So we are looking at this in terms of a process of how can we engage with the public, address some of those misconceptions that have come up, encourage people to read and go through the ordinance that we have online, and make suggestions for for ways that we can improve it and make it truly a Wythe County land use classification ordinance. I would point out as well that we already have a Citizens Advisory Committee that has advised you on the land use classification. They're the Planning Commission. They meet once a month, and they are made up of farmers, business owners, and property owners from Wythe County. So those meetings are on the first Mondays of the month. We have one coming up next week, so it's a public meeting as well. So it's a good opportunity to engage and have discussions, see what's going on in terms of planning. When it comes to the land use classification ordinance, we would like to do some informal meetings. These don't need to be meetings where I come in and I give a very lengthy presentation about the history of the ordinance and how it's been developed, but to address concerns, have one-on-one conversations with folks as they come in, have Board of Supervisors members, planning commissioners there along with staff so that we can have those conversations. We can gather questions, address questions, and let folks know how we're going to move forward. So we would like to use the county high schools for these meetings. They're generally centrally located. There's enough space, enough parking to host these sorts of events. We would propose that the first one be scheduled for March 30th, and I don't have a specific school in mind yet because we want to check and see if March 30th works for you all. That's a fifth Monday, so we don't have any other board meetings scheduled. It would you really be up to what's going on at each school, on that day, if that day suits you. So we would try to locate it. My personal preference would be to start at Fort Chiswell and work our way west. But I'll follow your direction. If this process works for you, we'd like to go ahead and consider scheduling that Monday, March the 30th for that first meeting so that we can do some advertising and let folks know what to expect from that meeting, set some expectations.
So with the meetings, well, first of all, I just want to clear up some confusion that was out there. A lot of people in the community thought we were going to vote on this ordinance tonight. We're not. This is a long way from being voted on from my standpoint right now. I fielded a lot of calls today. I'm sure the rest of my counterparts sitting up here field some calls. Some of the people sitting in here I've had conversations with about this before. We want to know where everybody sits and stands on this land use tax. I can tell you that the people that I talked to today are dead set no. I've heard everybody that spoke tonight, but the people that I talked to today, they're definitely a no on that one. So, Mr. Hankins, from my standpoint, I would suggest or ask that we look at the Saturdays like what's brought up for the people that are working, or have as many meetings as we can to make sure that every voice has been heard for this. And I'll back out now and let anybody else that wants to talk. I know a lot of us got calls today and last night.
Yes, sir. I got a lot of calls as well. And I won't, like Jamie said, we are way away from even considering a vote for this. We do want public input. That's important. So please get involved. I can't tell you how many calls I got. I didn't find one person that was in favor of it. And I get it. I understand it. But it's going to move forward, and we need to look at it. That's why you folks need to be involved. We need everybody's input, whether you're for it or whether you're against it. Please be active. Please be involved. The invitation is out there for everybody to be involved, so we don't hear these lack of transparency calls and all that stuff. We're asking and we're actually begging you guys to be involved. That's what makes it a successful partnership. is working together. So, thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've received a lot of calls also against it, period. No question to ask. The problem with that is if we don't have some kind of ordinance, these solar farms and these AI centers are gonna take over. And there's not gonna be a thing we can do to stop it. And I have to admit, I am against zoning too. I hate it. I don't think the government should be telling us what to do. But if we don't have something where we can control these things, then get what comes. That's all I have, Mr.
Anybody else?
Like the other supervisors I've gotten in the lead mines district, I have nobody that's called me that wants something. They are dead set against it. I'm not fond of it. I believe in being able to do what you want to on your property. Some of the things I've pushed to get out there is why our comprehensive plan isn't strong enough by itself, that it can be challenged, and then it'll go to a judge, and the judge will let come in whatever we need. We worked for years to get our comprehensive plan as strong as we could, but it still ain't strong enough by itself. I have reached out to people for feedback, and we need the citizens to come forward and provide their input on a draft zoning ordinance for land use. Because for me, it ain't just solar farms or data centers. It's other aspects as well. There are certain things that don't belong in your residential areas. They belong in a town or something else, and we fought those as well. And so I'd like to see the information go out as to why zoning is the tool that the state gives us. People come to me and say, "Why don't you just say no to these things?" And we really can't unless we follow the state rules that they allow us to operate by. And so, yes, in my district, I have zero support for this, but I also want the information to get out as to why we are looking at it and why we need the citizens' input. And so I have people tell me no, but they won't provide the input. We need the input. And that's all I have, Chairman.
Anybody else?
Well, I live in town, so I have zoning anyway, but, I've dealt with some of the zoning issues in town, and zoning as a whole, I'm against, because there are some zoning laws that are stupid. I mean, have no sense at all to me. However, I think that there's a happy medium somewhere. We can have some kind of zoning to prevent the things that we don't want to come into the county, but it gives the people the freedom to do what is right with their property. I mean, if you want to build a barn next to the road, you should be able to build a barn next to the road, not 100 feet back from the road or behind your house or whatever. If it's your property, you should be able to do what you want, I think. But by the same token, to be a little rude, you don't want a strip bar next to your house. So, those kind of things need to be taken care of in a zoning ordinance. The same thing with these solar farms. I mean, I'm not against solar by any means because I've got it on my house, but I don't want, 1,000 acres out here on a mountainside that's beautiful with solar farms on it. So I just think there's got to be a happy medium somewhere. And that's what we need, public input. And hopefully, we can come up with something that everybody can live with. Because we've got to do something or we're going to be covered up in solar farms and data centers.
Okay. One thing I'll add, Mr. Byer, if you would correct me, or Mr. Hankins, a lot of people's ask us, why can't you just make a zoning ordinance specifically for the solar farms or the data centers. We can't single them out.
It has to be a general ordinance,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
sir.
got to be a general ordinance. So I know a lot of people's been asking that. And I'm one of them. I have a shooting range. When he talked about the shooting range, I have a certified shooting range on my property, and I will be a lawbreaker on an ordinance because I'm a gun fanatic and I love shooting guns at my place.
Same here, bro.
So I will still use my gun range. So, Mr. Byrd.
Go ahead.
I would point out, Mr. Chairman, that the comprehensive plan that Mr. Burnett mentioned, we spent a lot of time together, a lot of hours going over that in the Planning Commission to update our comprehensive plan. The most recent plan, as mandated by the state, is a very comprehensive look at what we want to do over the next 20 years. But it also includes a lot of those historical elements. It includes historical communities, historical monuments, environmental issues that need to be addressed, soil types, future land use map, all sorts of different things. So that is a good resource for folks who want to be more informed about those things to review that. It is available on our website under the comprehensive plan.
And I would suggest too, is I know that we're going to do these community meetings, as many as it takes. I hope that's what we do. But we also need to get the Farm Bureau involved and make sure that all of the farmers are having a voice as well. Mr. Burns.
Mr. Hankins and I actually went to a Farm Bureau meeting October to make a presentation, but yes, civic groups, all that need to be involved in this process. And my recommendation is, and it sounds like everyone's wanting input as we proceed with the March, at least setting the initial March 30th date. And then we'll work on a calendar, send out to everyone, and at least start scheduling, if it's some Saturday meetings, possibly March 20th, possibly going April 4th, spreading some of these out over a couple weeks time frame for all of us to go get feedback from it and go forward. But it's the right step to take, and we'll figure out the location of the first one and schedule the rest of them out.
And we can have the maps there as well, or our computer at least to pull them up on, right? If people have questions about their actual. Okay.
So you don't.
One of the reasons that we asked for this to be an informal meeting is we didn't want you all as a board to have to call a meeting to order and adjourn that meeting. Same thing with the Planning Commission. So we will advertise that you will all be there, but we will not advertise it as a meeting where you'll be called to order.
Okay.
Do we need to make sure that there's only less than 4 of us there?
No, sir.
I would say let us work through that between now and March 30th with the county attorney on the procedures for doing that.
But we are going with the March 30th date.
Well, March 30th, we'll definitely look at going in and confirming a location in Fort Chiswell, hopefully Fort Chiswell High School, to get started.
Okay. Good time?
We'll advise. It'll be in the evening.
Okay.
Not 8 a.m.
I won't be there.
Anybody else have any other questions on that? Do we need to take any action on the date, or are we good to go with that?
I think as long as we have consensus to move
Yeah, I
forward
think-
on
I
that
think
date,
we're
we'll set up the details and prepare to advertise it.
So we'll go ahead and get the details on that, and I would ask that everybody that's in this room bring a friend.
Yes.
Tell as many people as you can. The more the merrier, even with these meetings here. It's good to see a bunch of people here. And it's your voice, it's your taxpayer money. I pay taxes just like you do. You need to be involved and see how your money's been spent. So tell a friend, tell as many people as you can, and be at these meetings, and we'll try to accommodate as many meetings as we can to get everybody's voice heard. All right? Anything on that? Anything else on that, Mr. Byrne? Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
All right, moving on, other business, any other old business? Mr. Byrne?
I do not have any other old business.
Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to new business, consent calendar. So everybody has received a consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Terry. You'll have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burnett. Any questions or concerns? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 Aye. So approved. Next item on the agenda is Gov. Deal surplus auction. Ms. Collins?
All of you have a memo in front of you with 2 auctions. I recommend approval of those bids and declare those items surplus.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Livestock cages.
They're on there, those chutes. That's the shoot, so it's at the Apex. I'll entertain a motion to approve and declare them as surplus. Got a motion by Mr. Martin, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Cook. Any questions or concerns? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Anything under new business?
I have nothing else under new business.
Mr. Hankins?
Don't believe so.
All right. Moving on to staff reports, Deputy County Administrator, Mr. Hankins.
I didn't have anything under new business because I've got plenty of things to say under my report.
I seen you give us a big packet here.
We discussed this with the Emergency Services Commission last week and also with the Fire and Rescue Committee last night, but the EMS department has passed its state inspection. They're required to pass it every 2 years. Passed it with flying colors. There was only one comment. The inspector asked for one amendment to our vehicle usage policy. And so we are exploring the wording that we'll need to use to put that policy into place. So I'd like to congratulate particularly Chief Frazier and Captain Jackson for their work in preparing for this audit and review. It was very thorough. I was there for a good part of the inspection, and they answered a lot of questions, and they were prepared to answer all of them with the right documentation. So proud of them for that. Do have recommendations from the Fire and Rescue Committee meeting from last night. This happened after your packet went out. And congratulations, Ms. Crockett was elected as the chair. Mr. Terry is serving as the vice chair. Mr. Smith, you dodged the bullet on that. Ms. Crockett asked me to go ahead and go through the details of what we discussed last night, 2 action items out of it. One is your fire department officer slates. This is something under your emergency services ordinance that you have the ability to do. We would ask that you, or the Fire and Rescue Committee recommends that you approve the officer slates as presented, and I have those officer slates in the memo.
All right, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about the officer slate as presented by all departments? All right, hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved.
Is there a motion?
That was from the
It was
committee.
from the committee.
The second item to come out of the Fire and Rescue Committee, we have a budgeted fund every year to pay fire departments for the call-outs that their members attend. So half of that we split as a base rate. Every department will get an equal share of that base amount. And then the second half is based on the number of calls that they responded to during the past calendar year. Chief Parnell has gone through and calculated the calls and has recommended payouts to Max Meadows Fire Department in the amount of $12,600, to Barron Springs Fire in the amount of $8,800, to Ivanhoe Fire in the amount of $9,600, and to Speedwell Fire in the amount of $9,000. And the committee recommended by a 2-0 vote to make the payouts as listed.
All right, again, coming from the committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about the payouts as presented? All right, hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 So approved.
We have made the announcement for Liberty at the Lake, the festival around Independence Day. In the first few days after the announcement was made, we had engagement of over 60,000 views of the video that was put out. We had a lot of RV camping spots. I believe we're actually out of the RV spots for the Independence Day weekend now. We have the tent sites and the primitive sites, but we're going to have a lot of campers out there, and it sounds like it's going to be a fun weekend. So we are continuing to prepare for that. Just would encourage you, share it, let folks know, because it looks like we're going to be able to generate crowds over those 3 days. So looking forward to that event, and thank you for your support.
Yeah, and I would, Mr. Hankins, if you could, I know she's listening back behind us here and keeping her voices from squealing too much, but Miss Williams has done an outstanding job, and Miss Shields, or Size, I'm sorry, getting us taken care of and really driving it home, and their enthusiasm. It shows out in the community now because they're getting a lot of positivity on this, so I do appreciate that.
I think we've got a really snappy logo. It gets attention. It ties into some of the patriotism, the patriotic themes, as well as some of the history of the area. So I'm pretty proud of the work that Ms. Williams did on developing that.
I will mention that there is potential that they're working on a 5K for you that day also.
I got you. By then, I'll be ready for you. Hey, it's worth coming out to see us run. No.
I'll second that.
We're planning on calling that race "Beat the Bear," and we're expecting that Mr. Bear will lead the folks off the starting line.
I didn't even see the bear at the last one we run. He left me.
Just an update on the storms. We had a hard time the last month. We had a couple of medics who were injured, slipping on ice. We had some really interesting technical rescues that we had to do, both human and dog. If you saw the two dogs that were rescued in Barron Springs by Randy Zook and the Barron Springs Fire Department, it made for some interesting times. So I'm proud of those folks. We overcame some pretty difficult circumstances, and as long as we're talking about folks that I'm proud of, I have Ms. Parsons here from the dispatch office. She has been with us for 6 months now. During that time, the department has earned its accredited dispatch center status. We have nearly reached full employment in that department. We have several new trainees that are on the job, and we're getting ready to launch our new computer-aided dispatch system in the next 6 months. She has a report for you in the packet, and if you don't mind, I'd like for Mrs. Parsons to come up and talk a little bit about what we're doing in 911.
Ms. Parsons, come on up.
Under the basement. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much. So in the 911 center, it is truly a team effort. We've got a great group of folks. They are very appreciative of your support for the 911 center. In that report, you'll look at some state standards that are across the board, state standards. I've included in that report what we've met, what we need to work on, what we've uncovered, what we are currently revising and reviewing. Our staff has attended probably, I would say, at least 20 hours of training, extra training in the last 2 or 3 months, just outside training, something that we can get them used to, networking with other 911 professionals across the board, getting out, seeing how other people do things, how they roll, how they talk, all the lingo that comes along with 911. We have some projects that we're working on that our new center consoles should be completed, installed, and paid for before June 30th, hopefully by the end of May. They are embracing the change way better than anybody could expect. I mean, the change is hard. It's hard for me. I'm a little older, so it is hard, but they've truly taken the bull by the horns down there, and they've just really embraced all the changes. So we have lots of teamwork going on, lots of visions and goals that you'll see me again on sometimes, but we really want to say we appreciate your support. And if at any time, you're welcome to come down and see those folks, come down and see what they do, sit with them, and just get a better feel of how 911 operations work in the county.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Parsons, for your vision and goals coming in and the stability bringing to that department. It shows, and we really appreciate that. One question I got, if there's anything that you need, please let Mr. Hankins or Mr. Byer know and get it to us.
Absolutely.
That'll help you speed up any of the gaps that you may have.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
You haven't seen her budget request, she has.
A new 911 center it is.
Within reason.
The last thing, Mr. Chairman, is just our legislative monitoring this time of year. We stay busy trying to keep up with what's going on in Richmond. This year has been particularly challenging because of the significant turnover in the General Assembly and some of the legislative initiatives there. A couple of things that I had mentioned, Mr. Baer is going to discuss one under his report. I'll mention that the Gaming Commission looks likely to pass. It would move all charitable gaming and casino gaming under a new gaming commission that the state would appoint. The Regional Improvement Commission under the proposed legislation now would remain as it is with an equal funding formula for all 14 of the partners in Southwest Virginia, but it would move under the umbrella of that gaming commission. We'll keep an eye on that legislation just to see where it's going. We were pretty worried about where some of that legislation could go this year, but our legislators have been very helpful in helping us to monitor that and to keep an eye on any changes to the legislation. So gratefully this made it through without any hammering or chiseling away at our public safety funds that we get from the casino gaming tax.
Yeah, thank you for your time on that and keeping us up to date on that. Do you have, either one of you have an update on Senate Bill 347 we discussed with Senator Hackworth when we were down there?
I do not, but I can look it up before the end of the meeting if you'd like. There is one interesting bill I hadn't really paid attention to. I believe it's House Bill 1272, which passed through the House. It would make skills games taxed again. There's been a back and forth on taxation for skills games. The state is banking on about $285 million in revenue from that tax over the next biennium. We can't quantify what that would mean locally. The local share would be 15% of what the state taxes. So there would be some extra revenue that would come in, but we don't have a way of quantifying that because we don't know how many machines are active in the county. There's no current mechanism for us to figure that. But yeah, we'll talk about that as part of the budget equation.
And just for clarifications for everybody in the room, Senate Bill 347 takes the authority away from the local. They say it doesn't, but it does if you read it. The authority away from the localities on restricting solar. If we restrict it, if we say a solar can't come to Mr. Hankins's farm, we have to report it to the State Corporation Commission, and they put it in a database. And you know what they do with databases, so they just track it, and then they'll start using it against you. So we're very in tune with what's going on with that. So, anything else, Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to County Administrator, Mr. Byer.
Yes, first, the counter boiler replacement. The first item I ask is that you all authorize us to go ahead and proceed with issuing a purchase order to Beckner Boiler Company. The school system has obtained this quote. I did speak to Mr. Burnett to get some advice on this, and he said they're a reputable company and would be good. So I would request, since time is of the essence, to authorize us to go ahead and proceed with that.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Terry and a second by Mr. Martin. All right, any questions regarding the purchase of the boiler for the cannery? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved.
And the second item along those lines is you have previously accepted the award for $50,000 for that. In the process of the numbering that came to you in your last memo, it was incorrect. So to correct that, I would request that you all amend and appropriate the following as you see there: the revenue, the 1103-325-083, the $50,000, an additional $10,000 from our surplus, and the expenditure line item be $60,000 for that project.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to amend and appropriate as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second? Second. Got a second by Mr. Martin. Any questions or concerns? All right, here none. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Next item is school construction. This has been a subject that we have discussed and followed bills over the last couple years. Both years in the General Assembly, a 1% local sales tax option passed the General Assembly but was vetoed by the governor. This would, to explain it as you're familiar with, it is a 1% sales tax that can be used for school construction. It even opened up with the language in this year's bill to help with outstanding old school debt service and all that. It requires, number one, if it's adopted by the General Assembly and signed by the governor, then it comes to the locality and it requires that a referendum be placed on a ballot in November or at a regular election for the citizens of the locality to consider this additional 1% sales tax that can only be used for school construction, school renovations, items like that. So we followed the last couple of years, hasn't moved forward. It has passed the House this year. The Senate version failed. The information we have understanding is that they're using the House bill as the primary bill, and it is transferred over into the Senate at this time. I don't know if it's come out of committee
It has not.
yet. Davenport and Company that we have worked with before on bond issuances and items like that have helped us on financial planning in the past, has provided us a proposal that I have put in your packet that lines out where they would come in, do the analyzation of it. We know what, we get on the sales tax as it is right now, but there are certain items that are not included in this sales tax, and so they would look at taking that off, analyze that, look at our school construction plan, and that's, I think y'all have received some calls recently. Spiller is the next project that's on the school construction list, and that's an estimated cost of $40 million. That alone, is going to cost us debt service probably in the range of $2 million to $2.7 million, depending on whether it's 20 or 30 years of debt service. To put that in perspective, we're currently paying about $2.8, $2.9 million in debt service right now on all of our former school projects. That would require a real estate tax increase of 7 to 10 cents in order to pay for that debt service on it. What they would do, come in, analyze the amount that could come out of this, also look at our plan. We know Fort Chisholm High School, Fort Chisholm Middle, and some other projects are out there. Should this pass, should this go on referendum, should this be approved by the voters, then it can speed up those projects as well, and we could have a large pool of money to go towards debt service for these school projects. So I just share that with you to see if you all would like to proceed. Davenport would not proceed with any charges on this until at such time everything is passed and is signed in the process. They do have a proposal. It's more expensive than I like. It has a not to exceed of $50,000. But I welcome your all's input in having them come and help us with the planning, come up with the numbers, and get everything ready to go to the language of the referendum, and then we'll work with our county attorney on those items.
Anybody have any concerns?
Is there room for negotiation of the price with them?
I have no problems asking them to lower their cap a little bit and see if they will do so.
Sharpen your pencil up on them. Because we had talked to him when we was in Richmond. I know Dickie and I, or Mr. Morgan, and I talked to him when we were in Richmond at a dinner. And, yeah, if we can, like Ms. Crockett said, if we can get that sharpened up.
I'll be glad to go back to a vote of consensus that y'all would like to at least look at this, and I'll go back and see if we can, and see if we can save a little bit of money on it, and then bring it back to you at the next meeting for execution, if that works for you all.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think we need to work on the education piece for the citizens in the county, what it would do, especially when you spelled out to do this, we would have to go to possibly a 10-cent increase on a real estate. With this, we wouldn't have to do that. Plus, it gets all the travelers that comes through Wythe County. So the burden's is still going to be on the citizens of Wythe County for the 1 cent, but we also share that burden with the travelers that comes through here. Okay. Well, any other questions? Mr. Cook? Good. Everybody?
If you're interested, that House bill is number 334, and it has been referred to Senate Appropriations.
What's the number?
334.
330, okay. I had 433 in my head. I was closing the numbers. Thank you. 344.
And Mr. Chairman, Senate Bill 347 has passed. It has been signed by the Speaker and by the President. I'll have to go through and analyze what the impact's going to be.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. County Attorney, Mr. Father.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Ms. Collins. All right. Next thing on it is board reports, Budget Committee.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget Committee met on February 17, 2026. The Budget Committee made the following recommendations. Number one, approve the EMS billing write-offs in the total amount of $121,272.60. This is the past due uncollectible billings for the period April 1, 2024 to August 1, 2025.
All right, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about this request? Mr. Hankins, do you want to explain what that is?
Yes, sir. For the patients that we have billed, sometimes we get partial payments, sometimes we don't get any payment. If someone shows up as a self-pay and we don't have a way to track them down once they've left the hospital, if a patient passes away, we don't go after the estate. So these are all bills that are uncollectible. We've made our best effort. We've sent all the billings that we can. We're not going to be able to collect this, and it just hangs out there on our balance sheet if we don't do periodic write-offs. The board has adopted a policy that lets us write off those policies every 180 days. Because of patient privacy, we can't tell you which accounts those go on, so we're giving you a total amount and asking you to write that off. Staff has, there were 5 of us that sat down, reviewed all these, went back through case by case, determined that we weren't going to be able to collect anything else, and so we recommend the writing off in that amount. And if you agree to that, we'll notify our billing company, they'll write it off, and it won't show up on our balance sheet.
All right, thanks, sir. Does that generate any questions? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So approved.
Next item is transferring $3 million from the general fund to the water operating fund for the Barrett Mill Water Line project. These funds will be transferred back to the general fund upon, upon loan grant closing, which is estimated by the end of this calendar year.
All right, again, coming from a committee, it doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or concerns about this request? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 All right, so approved. Anything else, Mr. Terry?
All from the Water Committee, sir, or Budget Committee, sir.
All right, so we'll move on to supervisor time. Mr. Burnett, we'll start with you.
All I have is some of our dirt roads Mr. Bear needs to work on, particularly Dry Pond Road, Foster Falls Road, Scratch Gravel Road, and Red Hill Loop Road. And that's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Ms. Crockett?
I don't have anything
Nothing?
tonight.
All right, Mr. Phillips?
I have nothing this time.
I've got a feeling it's going to change when we get to this side. Ms. Martin?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Morgan?
I just have one thing. Just want to let everybody know that we are finally getting some movement on flood damage down in Speedwell. You'll probably be seeing some people walking around down there. Those are the engineers that are going to make the plans. So don't shoot them.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Mr. Terry?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple things tonight. First thing we'll talk about is you've seen a lot of sheriffs. Our sheriff included Sheriff Klein. He's come out and publicly supported the Constitution and the Second Amendment. I get asked all the time where I stand, so I decided just to read the statement so everybody knows and understands where I stand as it relates. My fellow Virginians, today I stand before you not merely as an elected official, but as a servant of something far greater than myself, the enduring promise of liberty, justice, and self-government. I put my hand on the sacred Bible, the Word of God, to take the oath of this office. I swore to uphold the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia and the Constitution of the United States of America. I did not take a ceremonial oath. I took a solemn vow. A vow to defend the rule of law, to protect the rights of every citizen, and to preserve the republic entrusted to our care. The Constitution of Virginia is not just ink on parchment. It is the framework that guards our freedoms, the freedom to speak boldly, to worship freely, to assemble peacefully, and to hold our government accountable. It reflects generations of sacrifice, reform, and resolve. It reminds us that government exists not to command the people, but to serve the people. The Constitution of the United States, that extraordinary charter of liberty, is the foundation of the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever known. It limits power, it divides authority, it demands accountability, it protects the minority from the tyranny of the majority, and shields the individual from the overreach of the state. I will uphold these constitutions not only when it's easy to do so, but I will also uphold these constitutions with direct intent during these times of governmental tyranny taking place in our great Commonwealth today. I will defend them not when it's popular, but when necessary. I will protect the rights of all people. Because constitutional government, it's not about party, it's not about personality, it's not about power, it's about principles. In this Commonwealth, we believe in ordered liberty. Liberty anchored by law. We believe that rights are not granted by government, but recognized by the government. We believe that no official, no agency, and no branch stands above the law, period. As your elected representative, I pledge to exercise authority with humility and restraint. I will respect the separation of powers. I will insist upon transparency. I will safeguard due process, and I will remember every single day that the authority I wield belongs ultimately to you, the people. Our Commonwealth has endured revolution, civil war, reconstruction, and renewal. Through triumph and trials alike, the rule of law has always been our compass, and it must remain the same. The oath I took is not a single moment in time. It is a daily obligation, a constant reminder that public office is public trust. So let us recommit ourselves, not to factions or fleeting passions, but to the enduring constitutional principles that binds us together as both Virginians and as Americans. Let history say that in our time today, we did not shrink from our duties, that we did not bend when pressure mounted, that we stood firm for liberty, for justice, and for the rule of the law. I will uphold the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will do so faithfully, courageously, and without any hesitation. God bless Wythe County, God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia, and God bless the United States of America. And the next thing I've got, Mr. Chairman, just to back up and support what I said, there's a resolution, it's Wythe County Resolution 2026-02, declining to commence early voting prior to expiration of constitutional waiting period. So, as we know, there was a power grab by our Democrats up in Richmond that wants to put a constitutional amendment out to change the redistricting. In my opinion, and several attorneys' opinions, that is an overreach. It doesn't fall within the 90-day guidelines, which would put that at April 16th, not March the 5th. And so I think we all have a copy of the resolution on our desk. Do you want me to read that, Mr. Bayer?
I would ask if you want to read it, or if Mr. Hankins wants to read it for you, or whoever you'd like to have read that.
Do you mind reading that, Mr. Hankins?
Thanks, sir. Whereas Article 12, Section 1 of the Constitution of Virginia provides that no proposed constitutional amendment may be submitted to the voters sooner than 90 days after final passage by the General Assembly. And whereas final passage of the House Joint Resolution 4 occurred on January 16th, 2026, and whereas 90 days from that date expires on April 16th, 2026. And whereas early voting for the referendum is scheduled to begin March 6, 2026, prior to expiration of the 90-day constitutional waiting period. And whereas each member of the Board of Supervisors is constitutionally bound by sworn oath to uphold the Constitution of Virginia. And whereas the members of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors desire that in all elections that every person legally entitled to vote should have the opportunity to vote and have their vote counted. And whereas by Virginia law, votes cast during early voting are legally binding and are counted in determining the question on the ballot. And whereas the members of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors have sufficient doubt about whether votes cast early would count in the pending question based on the timing of the special election set by the Virginia General Assembly, with concern that any ballots cast prior to April 16th may be considered invalid and voided. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors determines that authorizing early voting prior to April 16th, 2026 presents a substantial constitutional question under Article 12, Section 1. And be it further resolved that the Board of Supervisors ask the General Registrar and Electoral Board not commence early voting or other preparations for an April election in compliance with the Tazewell County Circuit Court order entered on February 19, 2026 in case number CL 26-266 until this Tazewell County order is overturned by the Virginia Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court of Virginia, or said courts provide further direction regarding whether the special election may lawfully proceed in compliance with the Constitution of Virginia and the Code thereof. And be it further resolved that this resolution is adopted solely to preserve compliance with Article 12, Section 1 of the Constitution of Virginia, pending authoritative judicial determination of the timing requirements for the submission of the proposed amendment. And this resolution shall automatically be suspended and of no further notice or effect upon entry of a final order by the Supreme Court of Virginia determining that commencement of early voting prior to April 16, 2026 is constitutionally permissible. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be transmitted immediately upon passage to the Virginia State Board of Elections and the Office of the Attorney General. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand this 24th day of February in the year 2026 by James D. Smith, Chair with County Board of Supervisors.
All right, hearing the resolutions, anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
Will this in any way prevent anybody from voting in Wythe County?
I don't believe it does.
No, everybody gets the right to vote.
That's what.
Yeah, so they do have the right to vote, and I think it's on hold right now anyway, is that correct?
That is correct.
Should we include the
I'm not real sure what the status is. That's unknown at this point.
Okay.
As to what the State Board of Elections is saying versus what the court has ordered.
Okay. Yeah, but everybody has the right to vote. We can't stop anybody from voting. What we're trying to say is, if they vote early, their vote gets counted. Because if they vote now by the state constitution, and whichever side they start arguing about it, they can say, well, these votes happened before the 90 days, they don't count. So we want to make sure everybody's voice is heard.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, John.
Any other questions or comments?
Does the comments by the attorney, does this include those comments?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have some concerns about overreach of scope of the Board of Supervisors with this. I get it is a messy situation and messy is what I will stop with, but I feel like it would be best to hold off on this vote prior to more consultation with the attorney. I feel like this could potentially question whether or not we are interfering or.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I kind of feel the same way. I'd like to have a little more information on whether or not I'm abiding by the law.
We can, to my knowledge, we can add that to closed session tonight, right? For consultation with legal counsel. So we can add that in at the end. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Terry?
That's all I've got, sir. Thank you.
I told you a while ago when it got here, it was gonna be a long night, right? So I've got quite a bit to talk about. I've got a statement to read as well, but I'll get the other stuff. So, Mr. Bauer, I know there's been a lot of talk about the data centers, and there's been several comments made about the community meetings with members from Solus Arc. We've talked about this for 2+ months now. We need to make sure that happens, that we have those community meetings. We've promised the people in the community that we'd have those meetings. We need to follow through with that. It's starting to drag out. It's too long, 2 months, 3 months. It's just too long. We need to get them to the table and get them out and get the answers out and the information out to everybody that's asking questions on that one. So if you could work on that for us. Second thing I got on my agenda is the capital plan. We've been getting a lot of questions about the capital plans. I've received a lot of calls, more so around school projects, while one school is in front of the other school. Mr. Byer, just for clarification, those priorities are provided to us from the school administration, the school board administration, is that correct?
That is correct. The priorities that we put in our plan are based upon the priorities that the Wythe County School Board has provided in the process.
Okay, and I know the 1% sales tax would help if it passed through. We could speed projects up. The other piece of that equation is we're a funding agent for the school board. We don't control how they appropriate their funds to their projects. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to, I know there's been some confusion about that. I wanted to get that out there. On the land use, I've already talked about that. We weren't going to approve anything tonight. We're going to have the meetings, as many as it takes. So I did have it on my list.
And Mr. Chairman, if I might, we'll just have Mr. Hankins chime in on this. Basically, we'll have all these public meetings, but then there will be a public hearing held by the Planning Commission first, with a recommendation coming from the Planning Commission, and then ultimately a public hearing held by the Board of Supervisors prior to any adoption of the ordinance.
The Planning Commission has already recommended the ordinance for adoption, but they have stayed that pending, further conversation with the community, with the public, with the board on how you want to consider adoption. So they've recommended that you move forward to the next steps.
Yeah. Okay. The next thing I want to do, if you haven't heard, we've got some state championship wrestlers about 10 miles down the road here. I would like to congratulate them. Congratulations to the Royal Retreat Wrestling team for bringing the championship back to Wythe County. So we do appreciate their efforts and their dedication in doing that. I also want to recognize Fort Chisholm and George Wythe. I think they had runner-up state champions as well. So I do. Wythe County was well represented in the wrestling area. I know that we have a former state champion in the room with us tonight, so I'm not going to call him out because I have to work with this guy. And but it is nice to see that. I know some of the other sports gets overshadowed by basketball and football in this county, really football. So I do want to recognize when we have championships here. And then I also want to recognize Fort Chisholm men, our boys basketball team, and the George Wythe girls basketball teams. To my understanding, they both were MED champions and this tournament champions as well. So moving on, so I do want to recognize that. And best of luck in the playoffs, and I hope we're talking about some more state championships here. So on that piece. Mr. Byron, next thing I have is the Millers Creek 1874 we talked about on the bridge up there. We got any information on that?
I have had staff reaching out to them. They were not on our list as originally applying, from what I understand, for aid. Trying to reach out and see if we can connect them with any aid resources for their private bridge.
Okay, I'll just give him your numbers or Mr. Hankins' number, and okay,
just give him my number,
and I'll follow up with him tomorrow on that. And then as I was coming out Kent's Lane this afternoon, I know it's been windy over the last several days, but right across from the transfer station and going down into, I think it's Bottomley's gate there's tons of trash blowed up under that guardrail. Okay. If we can get that taken care of down there. On that one. And then I can't read my writing on that one, so I will go back to my statement. Again, I've been getting a lot of questions on how I stand on items that's taking place in Richmond. A lot of it's stemming from where we were in Richmond and we talked to our legislators. We're in constant contact with our legislators. So I do want to let everybody know where I stand as well. And I couldn't memorize it, so I'm going to read it. I do apologize for that. I know there's been a lot of talk coming out of Richmond lately, and I understand why many of you are concerned. I hear those concerns every day in the grocery store, at ball games, and church, and meetings like we are right now. So I want to speak plainly about where I stand. When I took the office as the Fort Chisholm District Supervisor, I swore an oath not to a party, not to a politician, but to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Virginia, that the oath is the foundation of my job and it guides every decision that I make. So I'm going to spare you the oath that I took. I've got it written down here to reread it to you, but if you want to see it, we can do it. This is not just something that I said one time and forgot. It's something that I live by. So let me be very clear with everybody tonight and everybody that's going to listen to this video. I will support and defend the constitutional rights of the people of Wythe County. I will not support spending any of your taxpayer dollars on any bills, laws, requests that infringe on those rights or puts them at risk. That's not a political stance. That's me doing exactly what I promised you I would do when I took the oath. My comment is simple. I'm here to serve you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Till we realize we're servants of the people in this room and the people in Wythe County, we won't be successful. To protect your rights and to honor the oath that I took, and I'll continue to do that to the best of my ability every single day as long as y'all allow me to sit here and represent you. So, Mr. Barr, that's all I've got. Does anybody else have anything? All right, so I'll entertain a motion to go into closed meeting, Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A5, prospective businesses and industries, Project Titan and transmission. Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A3, acquisition, disposition of real property, East Wytheville, West Wytheville. Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A7, consultation with legal counsel in regards to the resolution. Got a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? We're now in closed session. All right, I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? We're now back in open session. Mr. Terry, could you read the certification?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Info Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with the Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convened in the closed meeting were heard, discussed, and are considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors. And I'll make that a motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We got a second by Mr. Martin. Any questions? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we're back in open session. With that, is there anything else to be brought before the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to the Wythe County Resolution 26-02 for the constitutionality for the waiting period of the voting. I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution as presented tonight.
All right, I got a motion to approve Resolution 2026-02. Do I have a second?
Second.
I got a second by Mr. Martin. Any questions or concerns? All right, here none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry?
Aye.
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 No.
No.
Aye. All right, so approved. Is there anything else to come before the board?
That's all I've got, sir.
Just to mention, Mr. Smith, if you don't mind, I did pass out one other thing I didn't mention in my report. There's a final version of the billboard that'll advertise the property that we have for sale on Chapman Road. That's the direction we were given by the committee. Ms. Williams has found a printer to do the print work for that, and we'll try to get that up sometime in March.
All right, thanks, sir. Looks good. Any other business, Mr. Byron?
No, sir.
Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
Mr. Father?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Collins?
I do not.
All right, here none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morgan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.